What is up, Bills Mafia? We still have 140 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. And this channel is going to document every single day leading up to that amazing moment with a video. So I had to check in here at the end of the night to just go over the game, talk about what I'm feeling, commiserate with you, fellow Buffalo Bills fans, state the obvious, and, eat a little crow. That's okay. I said that Buffalo was going to walk into Miami and blow that team out, and they didn't, obviously. Yeah, it was an interesting game, to say the least. I don't think anything was answered in any way, shape, or form when it comes to who we have here in Buffalo as a football team, and especially no questions were answered that are lingering about the Dolphins and what type of team they have in Miami. Not at all. If you watch the game, you know that you should have more questions about the Miami Dolphins than answers, as far as I'm concerned. I looked, after the game, let's just give you a recap of my day. I went to go watch the game with some friends. The place was a little loud, so I kind of found a little place in Lockport to watch the rest of the game. When I watch a game, I got to be able to concentrate on what's being said on television. I got to be able to digest as much as possible so I get a better understanding of what's unfolding in front of me. And when you're in a really loud house with a lot of really loud people, especially people who don't really care about football, and they're making comments about the game, making comments about what's going on in the field, you just get agitated because they don't know what they're talking about. For instance, at the very, very, very end of the first half, when Josh Allen did whatever it was that he did with that bobbled snap and then whipping it out to Diggs. Diggs goes out of bounds, clock ends, and I got a friend asking me, did they get the first down? Did they get the first down? And I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. It's the end of the first half. Why are you asking if they got the first down? And that person's like, but I want to know, because I want to know what's going to happen at the start of the second half, if they got the first down or not. I'm like, what are you talking about? This person actually thought that the play continued in the second half wherever they ended the first half with the ball. It was pretty much around that time I realized I needed to get out of that house and go somewhere by myself to watch the game. And I'm so glad I did, because the way this game ended, I probably would have made a few enemies, because I don't know about you guys, but I can't control myself. I get agitated. Anyway, so the game ends, and it wasn't demoralizing. It was just agitating because of everything that I'll talk about here in a second, which there's a lot to talk about. And I had to get on. So I actually needed a break. Went to visit some family. Just decompressed from the day. Got all of that out of my system for the most part. Because if I had gotten on a live stream right after that game, I think I would have been a little less composed. But here I am now. I got to be kind of quiet because my family's sleeping. Got to keep it down. I'm not going to be doing any ranting and raving, I hope. Turn up my mic sound so you guys can definitely hear me. Yeah, so I got home and I said to myself, you know what? Before I go to bed, I'm just going to get on watching the Broncos and the 49ers right now in a real barn burner, 10-5. And what's up, Moa fam? Finn's in the house. Hey, man, if you're a Miami Dolphin fan and you're here to hang out with me, that's cool. I like that. This is going to turn into the old Miami Dolphins Buffalo Bills rivalry, perhaps. I can tell already you're a good dude. or dudette. So stick around. We can chat a little bit. But you say that a W doesn't answer anything, and it doesn't. For me, when it comes to the Dolphins, they got the win. Let's just start and just point out the simple facts. The Miami Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills today. And when it comes down to it, you just win, baby. And the Dolphins won. They beat the Bills. The Bills had a lot kind of going against them going into the game, and it just got even worse after that. But as I hear my family stirring upstairs, I gotta keep it kind of quiet. Basically, the thumbnail here is WTF. What the frick happened down in Miami? I mean, how many times did the Bills have an opportunity to put this game away? 3? 4? And, I mean, we all saw the plays. We all saw the things. We all saw those moments of the game where Buffalo could have seized it. And just like last season, they didn't. This is what, the 8th game in a row where the final score was 7 points or less and Buffalo was on the wrong side of it? I mean, generally, with just a flip of a coin, you're going to get at least 3 wins out of those 8 losses. So I watched the Broncos take it in with 4 minutes to go to take the lead. That's a real exciting game there. So Buffalo falls short again. You know, the key plays, of course, were the pass. I mean, the Josh Allen bad rep pass that he had at the goal line on 4th down, where everybody's probably going to have that. It's already all over the internet, right? Look at Josh Allen. Just like we thought, the dude can't complete an easy pass. Don't bother looking at his other 50 pass. How many passes did he have today? Holy cow. I mean, he had more, I wouldn't say bad moments in this game, but he didn't have Josh Allen-esque. He had more un-Josh Allen-esque plays in this game than I think I've seen in a while. But still, the dude balled out. And when he had to, he started to run the ball and started to take over that way, too. So against the Dolphins, he was 63. Wow, 42 of 63. 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked 4 times, 95% rating. Rushed the ball 47 times. You know, he didn't get into the end zone either. Josh Allen is generally a Dolphin killer when it comes to running the ball. And though he ran the ball effectively and ran the ball at the right times to do what he had to do, he definitely did not kill the Dolphins like he has in the past. You know, you're going to have 400 yards passing, I think, if you throw the ball 63 times. So, yeah, you got it right there, Mo, of 60 passes. So that was just, it's one of those games that you come away from and you say, this team should have won, but this team got the W. Because as far as I understand, I think the Dolphins, if I heard right on the radio, they had 212 total yards for the game. 212 total yards. I really thought they had more. It seemed like they were moving the ball pretty well. I think they just had a fair amount of big plays. Looking at the stats here really quick. You had Tua, who throws for 186, a touchdown. Very efficient, 13 of 18. I'll be honest, he was efficient. You know, he took care of business. He also went out, of course, for a period of time. Not too long, not enough to really make, much note of it. But I mean, rushing, Chase Edmonds, 21 yards. Raheem Mostert, they had 11 yards rushing. I mean, it was anemic. Now, Jalen Waddle had a good game. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Tyreek Hill, 2 catches for 33 yards. And as you know, that the Jalen Waddle pass, receiving yards, one of them, I think 40 yards came on one pass. So all I can say is this. This is kind of just my game take here is everything that had to happen for the Dolphins, everything that had to line up for the Dolphins to win this game happened. Whether it was Buffalo's mistakes at the end of the first half, the Josh Allen fumble on the sack, giving the ball to the Dolphins at the goal line. And I rarely blame the refs for a loss. And I'm not blaming them for the loss here, but they definitely contributed to this perfect storm of events to happen for Buffalo to lose this game to the Dolphins. They called the holding penalty against Christian Benford, if I remember correctly. That was a pretty big call and led to, I think, a Dolphins touchdown. I think it was a touchdown that led to. You had a couple other ticky-tack fouls. Nothing like that. It was worse than that one. But then there were a few plays where Bills receivers, a flag could have been thrown. Personally, I wish referees would just keep the flags in their pocket when it comes to receiver, cornerback, defensive back contact, because these guys need to be able to fight for the ball a little bit. So the pass interference calls that they could have thrown on the Dolphins, they didn't. I didn't get too whacked out about it. But at the same time, if you're going to call Christian Benford for basically, he put his hand didn't grab or anything. He put his hand on his shoulder pad as he was breaking back for the ball. They called pass interference. It's just like, okay, that's football. That play by itself does not beat the Bills, right? But a couple of the calls, a couple of the miscues, a couple of the odd sort of plays. For instance, sometimes you have to have some luck on your side. And when the Dolphins punt with a minute and a half to go, and that punter punts the ball right up his gunner's ass, or whatever you call that guy that's standing back from the center, the ball goes straight up in the air and out of bounds. It could easily have been a touchdown or set up the Bills somewhere near the goal line. But it goes out of bounds, which was fine because we got the ball back on, it was a safety, and that put the Bills in the position to win the game with a field goal. There was a penalty on that drive as well against the Bills. I forget what it was. I think it was fairly significant. And then, of course, the pass play to Isaiah McKenzie, I believe it was. And he really should have just shot straight out of bounds. But, you can't really blame Isaiah on that stuff. That's going to be a meme for ages, yeah. If the Bills had won, that would have been the butt punt, If you're old enough to remember Mark Sanchez getting sacked by his own, his own center, and they called it the butt fumble. I think it still lives today as the butt fumble. I think Buffalo had a new one here called the butt punt. All right, but back to all the things that had to happen for the Dolphins to win this game. Buffalo doubled them in total yardage. And statistics don't tell the whole story. But this one overall, I think, did. And here is what I'm taking out of it as far as who the Dolphins are as a team. I was impressed with their pass rush, although I think they had to bring the house a lot to get to Josh Allen. And they got there a couple times, but they got burned more often than not. They were very fortunate that Buffalo could not cash in on a lot of these drives. But the Dolphins' pass rush was a bit more imposing than I thought it would be. I think the Dolphins, Tua T was better than I thought he would be against our defensive line. He was more accurate than I thought he would be. I still don't think he is a top 10 quarterback, but he was efficient enough, and sometimes you just have to be efficient to win a game, which is what the case was today. The Dolphins just had to be efficient and get a bunch of breaks to pull out the win. Now, the glaring observation that we all easily have to make and call, and it's not necessarily an excuse, but it's a really solid explanation. You have the Bills who, going into the game, were starting 4, 5, 6 backups, a couple rookies, and then you had also, of course, just injuries starting right from the beginning of the game. And both teams were dealing with injuries. So, again, this is not an excuse. It's an explanation. And the explanation is valid. And it showed up the most. They played well. I think Kaiir Elam and Christian Benford. Of course, Christian Benford went out with an injury. I haven't gotten any updates. I haven't looked at my phone. So, if you can update me with any information, let me know. Comment below. But Christian Benford got hurt. Kaiir Elam played well. But without Poyer and Hyde, it was never more apparent than on 3rd and 22 when when Tua hit Waddle for a 30-yard pass, 35-yard pass down to the Bills. Was it 25-yard pass, 35-yard pass? Down to the Bills, 6-7-yard line on 3rd and 22. And that's where you definitely say, okay, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, they're in there. That pass is not complete. They're not completing that pass. So when it comes to the Bills' injuries, that is, I think, the one play that really stands out. And it's really hard to gauge how much better they would have been on defense with Jordan Poyer, with Micah Hyde, with Dane Jackson, with Ed Oliver, with Jordan Phillips, because the Bills held the Dolphins to 212 yards total. I'll see if I can grab some stats here, but, you hold a team to 212 yards, you are going to win 19 out of 20 games. Probably more. So here we go. They had 15 first downs. They were 3 of 8 on 3rd down. They had 39 total plays to our 90. 39 total plays to our 90. They punted 5 times. The penalties, Bills were penalized 7 times for 52. That should have been probably take 2 off of those because the Bills, they got flagged a couple times and they shouldn't have. And I thank you, Flacco. I'm going to get to that in a second too. Is the heat down in Miami? I live down in Florida. Golly. But time of possession, Buffalo 40 minutes. And to come away with 19 points, just it's a bizarre finish to what I think was a bizarre game. But the heat. So, a lot of people say, the Buffalo and, the Buffalo climate, and these players are coming down from Buffalo to play in Miami. These guys played in Miami. These guys, Kaiir Elam played for Florida. You have, if I can off the top of my head think of some of the players that played at Miami. Greg Rousseau played at Miami. You have, let's see if I can think of any off the top of my head besides that. You have Tremaine Edmonds, Virginia Tech. I guess it's not the same, but what I'm getting at. These guys played in hot climates. So what happened? How did these guys get so beat down by the heat? That'll be a question I'm sure that a lot of analysts here in Buffalo are going to be asking Sean McDermott. And, of course, they're not going to get any answers. But, what do they do or not do to keep this team hydrated and cool? Teams have everything at their disposal now. They have those fans on the sidelines. They can pour ice on these guys. They can give them IVs in the locker room. And it's not like playing in Miami back in the 70s or the 80s or even the 90s. These guys have everything at their disposal to keep them cool. I mean, I was worried about some of these guys. Spencer Brown, I guess, went out for heat-related issue. So the Heat beat us down, but, that's on us. If these players can't play in that type of climate, then you got to wonder, what's going on with their conditioning and everything. But that's a whole other story. But that definitely contributed to this loss. So, a couple takes here. And we'll wrap it up. Number one, the undefeated season's over. At least we don't have to worry about that question coming up in the locker room after every game. Now, is this attempt to go undefeated for the season, building pressure on your team? That's over. Maybe that's good that they got that out of the way. Then you have the fact that the Miami Dolphins now are in first place in the AFC East. That just pisses me off because they're not the best team in the AFC. I'm sorry, they're not. They're a good football team, but I don't think they're going to be there in the end. I'd be surprised if they're anywhere near the top at the end. I'm pretty sure Buffalo should go on a pretty solid, stretch of wins here over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. Unless we don't get these guys back. I mean, the health of this team is, we've all said it, it's the only thing that'll keep us from really achieving that goal of winning the Super Bowl this year is if somehow, some way, the the injury bugs just infest our team. And they did this week. I'll tell you what, we had a lot of guys out. So that's kind of a roundabout take. I'm sure everybody has the same take when it comes to this game. It just all lined up for the Dolphins. They got the plays that they needed at the right times. The Buffalo Bills did not get the plays that they needed at the right times. Josh Allen skipping a pass. I mean, a horrible pass to the flat at the corner of the end zone on fourth down. I think it was to Reggie Gilliam. And even before that, he missed a pass to Stephon Diggs in the end zone. I think if he puts it out in front, Stephon maybe has a better chance. The play before that, Josh Allen does a run option. He keeps it and just gets blasted. And it's just like last year. It's like, we're going to win this. We're right there. We're going to win it. And then we don't. And if you're like me, when the final play happens, we don't get out of bounds, we don't spike the ball in time, and the game's over. If you're like me, you're like this. Did you think I froze? No lag. That was me. That's how I was at the end of that game. All right. It's over. The Bills lost a goofy game in Miami. They're 2-1. None of us really thought that the Bills were going to go 17-0. I would have loved it. I would have loved it. That's over with. That's over with. The Bills are 2-1, second place in the AFC East. Now we move on to play Baltimore. And not an easy task either. But a lot of people will say now that the Bills are beatable. Only if the Bills are riddled with injuries and everything in the game lines up perfectly for the other team. I am talking, like I said, the Bills make the bad plays when the other team needs us to, the fumbled snaps, the bad decisions. Then we need the referees to pitch in a little bit like they did with the Dolphins today. Like I said, making that call on Christian Benford was just pathetic. You thought I froze, Moa? Sorry. Yeah, sometimes my stream does lag. that a good one? I got you. I got you. I wasn't lagged. Okay. You need humor in life, especially on a day like this. We move on to Baltimore. And I'll have a take on Baltimore coming up in the next coming days. Donna says, you think a Miami fan would have some friends to celebrate with and yet know they are in here. So far, Dolphin fans here making it hard for me to dislike them. Moa's a cool dude. We need more cool people in football when it comes to fans. I can give it to the best of them. I love to take it. Sometimes people get a little too whacked out. They come chasing each other with butcher knives. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill you. You're a Bills fan. I'm going to kill you. We don't have that here. Oh, I saw that, Moa, when Tua and Josh got together. My final takes, taking the good stuff out of this game, right? Josh Allen's passion to win. I mean, you would have thought he lost a playoff game today. And one other thing that I really liked, if you saw it, was Ken Dorsey flipping out in the press box when they did not stop the clock for to be able to kick a potential game-winning field goal. That passion is what I want to see in this team moving forward. We weren't going to win them all. Pretty much, it was that we were destined to lose one of these games. And we're probably now looking at the way injuries piled up and, the way the teams play each other now, we're probably going to lose again. I just hope it isn't a loss like this because this one really, really stunk. Really stunk. So I got 16 people on right now. I'm going to hang out for just a little bit more. I'd love for your takes in the comment section below on what it was that really doomed us today and, what you see going forward. Yeah, and I saw that Josh Allen got hurt. Something about his hand. I heard on the press conference, McDermott said nothing to worry about, but you just never know how that could fester and become a problem. So going forward, checking out what type of injuries we're dealing with, getting back on track. The team's going to get back at it. Got to get Poyer back. Got to get Oliver back. Got to get Jordan Phillips back. Got to get Christian Benford back, hopefully. Man, we got Trey White over the horizon there. About 3 more games, we're going to see him back on the field. I hope that he's going to be back to form. I mean, even if he's not 100%, he's still going to be a top 15 cornerback in the league. And if he gets back to form, that he's a top 5 cornerback in the league. So we got that going for us. We got a whole season, man. We got 14 more games. If you're like me, that feeling that you got right after that loss, it's just like it's over. The season's over. It took about an hour, and then I got back at it and decided to do a quick stream here. So that's my takes, my friends. Buffalo should have won this game. Pure and simple. They dominated on both sides of the ball. It's just that the breaks fell the Dolphins' way. And finally, once and for all, Moa fam, you guys got the win. And when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter if you guys got 3 total yards and Buffalo had 900. The only thing that matters is that you got the W. And as of right now, you guys are in first place in the AFC East. Enjoy it while it lasts. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. And so, until I jump on a stream or do a video next time, I've got one thing to say. See you tomorrow. Oh.